Welcome to Global One Media's Stocks to Watch. I'm Michael Swido. I'm speaking today with Sophy Cesar. She's the head of corporate development at Canadian North Resources. They're an exploration and development company that's focused on the critical metals needed for the clean energy and high-tech industries. Sophy, welcome back to the show.
Hi, Michael. Nice to see you again.
Great to see you. I got to say, your company chose its name really well, Canadian North Resources. I mean, you are located in a project in, well, Canada's north. It's in a place called Ferguson Lake. And is it an area that is, well, cold to say the least, the Canadian Arctic? You know, I checked out the weather there, and it's currently minus 26 degrees Celsius, minus 15 degrees Fahrenheit, cold any way you look at it. The winters are long and harsh, the summers short and cool. But the region has been a center for the mining exploration and mineral exploration and mining industry since the 1950s. And your company has been active there for more than a decade. Not only that, it's investing all of its resources, which I have to say are significant, in one area in Ferguson Lake. Why is that?
What a great question, Michael, to start off with. Well, we really believe that we're sitting on a world-class resource that has not been developed yet. As you mentioned, it's been around since the 1950s. There's been significant amount of money invested in the ground, over 190 million now in over 200,000 meters drilled in 750 holes. So it's not like the other little junior mining companies that we look at.
Well, that is quite a lot. I understand you all have identified over 70 million tons of critical minerals in this project, and we're going to focus on one of those today, copper. It's used for electric vehicles. It's essential for electricity transmission. And you all have identified 635 million tons of copper, which I have to say sounds like quite a lot. So tell us, I'm curious, what is the cost of extracting all this copper compared to current prices?
Great question, Michael. Until we have an economic assessment, it's impossible for me to estimate that. But what I can provide investors with a little bit of color on is the demand for copper. So right now we produce about 25 million tons, and that's expected to double to 50 million tons by 2035. Well, why? Because as you mentioned, copper is used in all of these clean, environmentally friendly technologies. So to help us reach our goal of being net zero emissions by 2050, we're not producing enough copper. So there was a great study done by the World Economic Forum, and it estimated that by 2035, we're going to fall short by 10 million tons. And by 2050, we're only projected to produce 20% of the copper required to meet our climate goals. So what I think that for investors, if they can see that picture long term, it puts CNRI exactly at the right place, exploring for copper right now to move towards an economic study and potentially to a viable mine in the next 10, 15 years.
Yeah, I think that's really important for people to keep in mind when we're looking at exploration. Even though I'm going to talk about current prices in just a moment, it's not necessarily today's price that's important, but it's the price, again, not next year, but several years down the line when it comes out of the ground. Last I checked, copper is trading around $8,200 per ton on the London Metal Exchange. Analysts expect rising demand will likely push copper prices higher. Citibank, for one, has set a target price of $15,000 a ton, which it expects copper to hit by next year. That is more than 80% above copper's current trading price. All right, Sophy, let's return now to CNRI's Ferguson Lake property. The metals there are generally classified into two categories, inferred and indicated. Indicated means that you have greater confidence in the numbers and that it's more likely the metals can be extracted. So I understand your company recently conducted a geophysical survey. So tell us, what's the potential looking like to move some of those copper numbers from the inferred column to the indicated one?
Well, Michael, actually, we're expecting to have a mineral resource update, 43101 technical update, which is something that we require here in Canada to give investors confidence that what we say we have in the ground or what we believe we have in the ground, there's been a third party independent assessment to verify that. So we hired SRK and they did a site visit just before we closed the camp in October of last year. And so we're expecting an update on that inferred and indicated in the next couple of weeks. So what we expect to see is, I guess, the 40 some odd million tons of inferred. We expect to see a lot of that move to indicated and to bring up the overall number. So right now we have 71 million tons. And ideally, blue sky, we'd be aiming to hit 100 million tons of inferred and indicated.
All right, that's awesome. Speaking of numbers, let's look at the investment side of the equation now. Your share price has taken a big hit over the past few months. Back in September, it peaked at $3.73 a share. That's about twice as high as where it's trading today. So tell us, why do you think CNRI offers good value? Why would you say it's a stock to watch?
What a great question. So I think, to refer to that, as you call it, hit, I mean, the markets have been tough overall for everyone. We do tend to stay in that $200 million market cap range. So we offer a diversified and strategic portfolio of critical minerals. So instead of investing in 5 or 6 different companies, you're able to invest in one, and that helps position investors to capitalize on that increasing global demand for these critical minerals. And again, as we discussed before, we're looking long term. So yes, we expect there to be a positive impact in the market when we put out the updated resource estimate that we discussed, and as we move forward with drilling in the 2024 season. But beyond that, there's a lot of potential here to meet a demand globally for these critical minerals.
All right, so today we've been focusing on one of those, copper, but as you mentioned, your company actually is mining about 5 different critical minerals, copper, nickel, palladium. What else do you all have?
Platinum, rhodium, and cobalt.
Okay, that's quite a list.
Yeah, we cover 6. It is.
All right, I think on the investment side, it's also worth pointing out that not long ago, back in November, your company's chairman and one of its directors purchased more than 200,000 shares of your company. They've invested more than 400,000 Canadian dollars in the stock. And frankly, it's always a good sign to see people in the company putting their money back into the business.
Not only that, but that was buying on the open market. They also exercised a significant amount of their warrants. So even more confidence in the company.
All right, fantastic. Hey, before we sign off, I'm just curious, do you have any plans to travel up to Ferguson Lake?
Oh, I wish. I'd absolutely love to go up there and see the site. And it's actually the background that you see behind me. So it looks absolutely lovely.
All right. Would love to see it one day, but I think not in the wintertime.
Likewise.
We've been speaking with Sophy Cesar from Canadian North Resources, and you've been watching Global One Media's Stocks to Watch. I'm Michael Sueda.